Hi, and welcome to 3 ways to tap into your inner genius and your brilliance. And oh, what have I done? I've pressed the wrong thing. There we go. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. Sorry, new to the technology here. Yeah. So 3 ways to tap into your inner genius and um, and surprise yourself with your brilliance. And as you can see, in order to do that, you do not need to be a technical genius. Uh, so the Einstein quote of if you teach a something about teaching a fish to climb a tree, it's not the fish's brilliance. That's not where the fish has its genius. You know, it could outswim any human, but don't try and teach the fish to climb a tree. So hey Kieran, hey Gillian, good to be here. Thanks for joining me live. So do feel free to if you have any questions, pop them in the comments as we go through. And yeah, so I thought I would start with what is brilliance. And I have what is brilliance? I think it was Becky. Becky was holding up stuff in her live, so I thought I would copy her wonderful idea. What is brilliance? So for the here we go. Oxford Dictionary describes brilliance as brilliance, intense brightness of light and vividness of color. And being brilliant is described as exceptionally clever or talented. Hey, recognizing yourself already? We'll get to that. And the dictionary says, as an example, he was quite brilliant and was promoted almost at once. The germ of a brilliant idea hit her. So this is what the dictionary is saying about brilliance. Outstanding, impressive. His brilliant career at Harvard, excellent and marvelous. We had a brilliant time. These are all parts of the dictionary explanation. And also of light, very bright and radiant. Brilliant sunshine illuminating the scene. Okay, so, and for genius, it says pretty much similar stuff, but it also says where are we? Exceptional intellectual or creative power or other natural ability. So genius is more about natural ability, according to the English Oxford Dictionary. So example, she was a genius teacher. And Gardner had a genius for tapping into wealth. A person who is exceptionally intelligent or able in some respect. And then it goes on to say the prevalent character or spirit of something, such as a nation or age. And then it comes from the Latin, which means attendant spirit, present from one's birth, innate ability or inclination. So those are the explanations of brilliant and genius. And one of the things that I particularly love about those explanations, particularly of genius, because a lot of people think, oh, genius, it's someone else. It's something like way out there. And also often people think that of brilliance as well. That's for them, it's not for me. I can't describe myself as a genius or having genius or being brilliant. Yet the English Oxford Dictionary would beg to differ with you. It says about what it says there. One of the things it says about genius is it's what you are born with, the spirit that you are born with. your innate abilities that you are born with. So all of us are born with genius, inner genius. And we'll get to how to uncover that, how to tap into that later on in the talk. So what else about genius? So when I talk about tapping into what is brilliance and what is genius, so all of those descriptions, and also it's about when you shine, when you say something or do something or look amazing and you shine, you radiate. So being willing to be brilliant is also requires a willingness to be seen, because it's all about light and shining and radiance and being bright. And of course, another word for intelligence is being bright. I'm also talking about, with what is brilliance, about having a fresh perspective, or being able to come at something, look at something from a fresh perspective and see something that may have been, an age-old problem or something that's been there for a long time. See it from a different angle, and often that's a way of coming up with a solution or a simplification or something that is valuable. And it's also about, so if you're willing to see something from a fresh perspective, then it's also about being different and seeing something different, or pointing out something different, or hearing something different, or knowing something different from what, all the mediocrity out there, all the mediocre stuff, all the normal stuff. Being brilliant is rising above the normal, shining out beyond the normal. And for this purpose, for me, that is also about being uniquely you, shining in the brilliance of you. So that might take quite a bit of confidence, and also confidence is required to be confident in yourself, to know what you know, rather than like, oh, I can't be brilliant because they have that degree, or they have that knowledge, or they have that status, whatever it is. They're older than me, they're smarter than me, whatever it is. So we're gonna dig into those, and the three ways to tap into your brilliance. Having the courage to shine, and also hey Susan, good to see you here. And also it's about often it's about simplifying things. It's like, oh, that's brilliantly simple. To take something that is like hugely complicated or has so many moving parts. I mean, like what Helen does with LinkedIn. She has a brilliant method for keeping LinkedIn super simple. She's got simple actions that you simply do every single day. And that is brilliant. And it's a way of being brilliant on LinkedIn and creating brilliance with LinkedIn. So, it's maybe genius and brilliance aren't what you thought they were. And maybe you have more of them already than you've perhaps given yourself credit for. So that's what is brilliant. So what stops us from shining as brightly as we could? What stops us from being our genius, our inner born spirit, the spirit that we were born with of genius? What stops us being that in the moment? What closes us down from that? What dims the brilliance of our light? And what stops us from shining as much as and the way that we could all the time? So, one of the I've got a little list here. So one of the things is it's not very brilliant. It's not very British to be brilliant, and in fact, name me a culture that encourages individuals to shine, encourages genius, rather than like, oh no, you've got to get the right answer, because I'll go into that again later. So, but that encourages children to be the brilliance that they are. So many of us, our first experience of brilliance was met with, oh, be quiet, or you're too loud, or children should be seen and not heard, or that's not the right answer, or whatever it was. Often it's from when we were a child, often a very small child, and like continuously through our childhood, we're told we're showing off if we're shining, or we're told we're acting up if we're being willing to be the brilliance that we are, if we're radiating radiant and shining. Even if, just think of times when you looked amazing, and maybe you were radiating like health, or just glowing with gorgeousness, whatever it was for you. Maybe there were one or two people who were like, wow, don't you look great? And maybe there were a lot more people like, huh, who does she think she is? Who do they think they are? Oh, they're all dressed up. What they dressed up for? The judgment, the putting down, the dampening down of our shining, our brilliance, our genius is inherent in the society that we live in, and in so many cultures and societies. Yeah, and also, everywhere your brilliance has got you into trouble. Maybe you had a brilliant idea, and you wanted to like tell the teacher, oh, this is a brilliant idea, let's do this. And the teacher was like offended, or furious with you, or you spoke out of turn, or whatever. All the times that your brilliance got you into trouble, that so like, oh no, I better not be brilliant again, I better not shine so brightly, I better not um you know like be that inner genius that I be. I better like close that down and like shove that down back where it came from, as far, and like cover it over with all kinds of judgments and don'ts and nots, and you're not supposed to, and you're not allowed, all of that. But now you're an adult, you can do and be whatever you choose. What if you chose to be the brilliance that you be? So also I've got here evil genius. There's so many times that genius is slammed, or not recognized in its lifetime. So some of the like amazing artists who are now hailed as geniuses, when they were alive, nobody recognized or acknowledged them for the amazing brilliance that they were. And so that's another reason to close down, and it's like not being acknowledged for the genius and the brilliance. So and I'll talk about a little bit more about what you can do to change that in later on. Yeah, so geniuses and brilliant people, brilliant ideas, they're often not celebrated. They're often closed down, tried to pick holes in, or that's not logical, or that would be too hard, or that's not sensible, or it's not linear, whatever it is. All of those things, they lock us down, and they stop us from the intuitive genius that may be like bubbling up and saying, oh yes, this would be brilliant, this would really, really work, this is a fabulous solution. And yet the closing down, the zipping up, the shutting up, And oh yeah, that's so let's get on to the three ways to tap into your brilliance. So number one is get playful. Have fun, get playful, tap back into when you were a child, and the fun and joy of creating, of coming up with fresh ideas, and different ways of doing things, the playfulness of skipping down the street, the brilliance of shining with joy and radiating joy. That's brilliance in itself. So bringing fun and joy and playfulness into whatever it is, into your daily life, into even serious work situations, a little bit, especially the more serious something is, the more it could really do with a little bit of lightening up, a spark of brilliance, a spark of humor, a spark of lightness. A candle in the darkness is a brilliant light. So the darker and the heavier and the more serious the situation, the more your brilliance, your playfulness, your fun and your genius, your inner guiding spirit of genius is required. So, and you may say, well, there's not always appropriate to be playful, to have fun, and to to crack jokes. And yes, I get that. And yet, even in the darkest situations, a glimmer of light, a glimmer of humor can be such a gift. So what if you're willing to trust your inner guiding spirit, your inner genius, to be the brilliance that you be, regardless of the situation? So, I want to give you some examples of, even at a funeral, it's someone who gets up and reads something at the funeral, and says something about the person whose life they're there to celebrate, to acknowledge, to say goodbye to. Thinking of the times, the fun times, the playful times, the funny times that you experience together is such a gift to the darkness and the sadness and the heaviness of a funeral situation. It's such a, even in those situations, there is a place for playfulness and joyfulness and fun and lightness and laughter. Just learn to trust yourself as to when and how and to what degree you can introduce that lightness, that spark, that brilliance. So because playfulness and also children. So when you're willing to get playful and tap into the playfulness that you had as a child, or that children have, that you see, children skipping down the road, or playing, and the playfulness, how can you bring that into your adult situation that requires a bit of brilliance? How can you and also in playfulness, that's flexibility, and when we come to problems, they're often like rigid and dark and firm, and so flexibility and light and playfulness can be a real brilliance, a real gift to every situation. So, even when you forget someone's name, or you forget something that's really important that you were saying or you were supposed to say, bringing a little bit of humor into that, bringing a little bit of light and lightness and playfulness and brilliance into that. Like say someone who, like, they forget something, and they say, right, who knows the answer to this? and then someone tells them and say, ha, I was just testing you, or that's playfulness, that's lightness. So number two is, so get playful, number one. Number two is stop trying to get it right. Stop trying to having to get every situation right. Life is messy, life is fucked up, we're not going to get everything right, and the more we're trying desperately to get everything right and to be perfect and to get things done perfectly so we don't fuck up, so we don't mess up, that that is such a dampening of your brilliance, a smothering of your genius, that it doesn't give you the space to be the brilliance that you be. It doesn't give you the space to shine. And if you just acknowledge that fuck ups are going to happen, mess ups is going to happen, failure is going to happen, some days it's going to get really uncomfortable, it's going to happen. But trying to stop that is not a great use of your resources. It's not a great use of your brilliance. When you are willing to be brilliant and shine and allow your genius, your inner guiding spirit, to come through you regardless of the situation, then you don't have to get it right. Simply, if we go back to, the geniuses, the over ages, who, especially those who weren't recognized for their brilliance, weren't recognized for their genius in their lifetime, or perhaps even in the moment, and maybe it's only afterwards that people came to them and said, oh my God, I've suddenly realized, what you said in that meeting was actually brilliant. You've got a really good point there. Maybe we should look into that, dig into that deeper. Maybe we should like change things and go with your brilliant idea, which was not recognized as brilliant at the time. So be willing to be judged, be willing to not get it perfect, not get it right by everybody else's standards. Be willing to listen to your inner genius, to allow yourself to shine and radiate the capacities, the talents, the intelligence that you have, the experience, the stuff that you know. Be willing to be true to you and what you know, even if others don't like it or say you're wrong or whatever. Stop trying to get it right. And that leads us beautifully on to number 3. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust your brilliance. Nobody knows what you know. Nobody has the perspective that you have. Nobody else has the exact experience, the exact knowledge, the exact internal genius that you have. So learn to trust yourself and experiment. So one thing I'd do is one thing I'd suggest is experiment with small things. So experiment with being your brilliance in like things where you don't have a huge audience and you're not gonna like fall, it's not gonna destroy your whole life if you get it wrong, or if they don't like what you say, that you lose your job, or start experimenting with the small things. And also, what if you were willing to follow your brilliance, follow your genius, and shine and radiate what you know and the talent that you have, and they didn't like it and you did lose your job? Maybe that's not the right job for you. Trust what you know. Maybe the people who are judging you, telling you you're wrong, maybe they're not the peer group the colleagues, the people that are right for you to hang out with. Choose your environments, and the people that you choose to spend your time with, even if it's in situations where you say, well, I don't really choose to spend who I'd spend my time with at work. It's work, I have to. What if you could choose more to engage with the people who were willing to enjoy your brilliance and willing to be their brilliance as well? Because often people accuse us of something either they are doing themselves or something they are not willing to do or be. So if someone accuses you of showing off or being too loud or like thinking you're too above your station in any way, oh, you think you're so great, or whatever it is in a work environment, or I mean, that was a bit teenagery, wasn't it? But you know, the if anybody else is telling you you should pipe down and be less than you are, then it says more about them and where they're coming from, what they're not willing to be, or what they're trying to hide about themselves, than it does about you and your brilliance. So don't be put off. Trust yourself. So we're coming to the end of the 30 minutes, and I just wanted to quickly just share with you, and surround yourself by brilliance and brilliant people. So this glass, it's diamond cut, so the glass displays the light and displays the brilliance. This glass is willing to be the brilliance that it bees, and I love surrounding myself with shiny, brilliant things that remind me of brilliance, and things that remind me of my brilliance, and things that remind me of other people's brilliance. Because if they can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, you can do it. And if you can do it, then maybe you're inspiring somebody else to be willing to be their brilliance too. So surround yourself with brilliance. So one of the things that I do is I love visual clues. So you know, like the glass, I surround myself with shiny things. Like, maybe this isn't really shining that well, but it's a shiny crystal pyrus for wealth and shiny things. And also I write on, so Helen often suggests, you know, writing your mission statement somewhere where you can see it and putting it on a post-it note. She's also encouraged me to you know, get a eyebrow pencil and write on the mirror or on the glass what your target income is. So surround yourselves with things that remind you and reflect back your brilliance, the brilliance that you be. And so I love doing little things like that. And another mentor said to write on the mirror, this is what a wealthy woman looks like. So I write that on the mirror and I say it out loud when no one's around, when I'm at the mirror. And I also do, okay, so this is what a healthy woman looks like as I'm looking at myself in the mirror. This is what a brilliant woman looks like, is what I'm now going to include. This is what a genius woman looks like. And also you can do things like, if you're coming up against an obstacle, you could ask yourself, okay, what would a brilliant woman do? What would a genius man do? Or if you don't like those, then change it to your language, because it's all about shining and trusting yourself. So what would someone who trusted themselves do in this situation? Or even, you know, what would a brave woman do? What would a courageous man do? That was one of my friends. She used to love saying that. What would a brave woman do here? And another thing I do is I got a picture of myself, and I put, what would it take for me to receive the greatness of me. And you can language it any way that's fun for you. What would it take for me to receive the brilliance of me? What would it take for me to receive the genius of me? So print out a picture of yourself. It doesn't even have to be one you like. I did not like this picture until I did this. So this is me. I don't think it, I didn't, when I picked this picture, I didn't think it was a great picture. I was doing it for an exercise in one of my mentorship groups, and I didn't really like it, but I just picked it because I was in a hurry, and so I must have been unconsciously following my inner genius, because this picture is me just after I've come out. I was kayaking here, and that's why I've got the life preserve there. And I had a brilliant, I love kayaking, and for me that's when I'm in my genius. That's when I'm in my brilliance, kayaking, so being playful and doing stuff you love is all about being in your brilliance as well. So do crazy things like take pictures of yourself and write stuff like, what would it take for me to receive the brilliance of me? Okay, so I just wanted to everywhere that you have been stopped being your brilliance, everywhere that other people, other situations, teachers, family members, parents, grandparents, any other, any time that you've been shut down for being your brilliance, would you now be willing to let that go? And anytime you notice it, you can do this little quick exercise, because I appreciate we're running out of time. So just gather up all the yuck and the yucky stuff of, like, when you were stopped, when they told you you're wrong, maybe you even got beaten. I feel like I'm being beaten here with all this yucky energy of, like, you're too loud, you're too much, you're too vivid, you're too gather all of that up and then let it go on 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you literally shake it out on 3. So that's letting go all of that past yucky stuff, and then open the door for allowing your brilliance to come through on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what I wanted to finish with, and thank you so much for joining me for this exploration on tapping into your inner genius and your brilliance. And if you've got any questions, do put them in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the group soon. Bye for now.